Welcome to the Martial Arts with Jake podcast. Hear from the best martial artists and combat sports athletes from around the world. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy today's episode. Yes, guys, welcome to another episode of the Martial Arts with Jake podcast. Today, I'm joined by Damien Trainor. First of all, congratulations on becoming a Venom athlete. What an achievement that is.
Yeah, cheers. They just kind of contacted me and asked if I'd be interested in becoming one. I kind of knew that they were taking over the UFC in April, so I thought it was a good thing to get onto.
They're one of the biggest brands now in combat sports, easily.
Like, I didn't really know much about it. Like, obviously, I thought the stuff looked nice, but I didn't know what the quality was like. But since I've been sending some stuff over, I'm really impressed with it.
I remember on the early UFC games on your career mode, when you could unlock kind of gear to wear. And like down the ranks, as your fighter got better, you could unlock Venom. And I was always buzzing because I always thought their gear looked the best as well. I was only about 13 at the time. So where did your martial arts journey begin?
I started when I was 14, which was in 1994. I started at the K-Star Thai boxing gym in Perry Bar. The gym was literally just down the road from my school. So I remember used to seeing it all the time when I was like going in. A couple of my mates from my class started training. They asked if I wanted to come down with them. So I went down, checked it out, and I was quite impressed. And I kind of started from there.
Did you kind of get the bug for it straight away?
It's kind of mad because I kind of told myself I was going to be good before I went in. So I kind of believed in myself. But I was the kind of kid at school that you don't pass a football to. So I didn't really have any kind of athletic attributes kind of thing. But I kind of said, I'm going to be good at this. And luckily, I was able to pick things up quite well.
But how come you had that such self-belief from the Thai boxing then, if it wasn't that athletic straight away with other sports?
I don't know. I think I used to watch a lot of cheesy, like 90s martial art movies and kind of aspired to be like one of those kind of characters.
All the Bruce Lee movies.
Yeah. So like I was more like a Van Damme kind of guy at the time. So like blood sport and kickboxer. So I kind of thought I wanted to be that kind of character, I guess, when I was at that age. And obviously I kind of went in and I was going to excel. I might not have, but obviously luckily I quite did.
And you had quite a great junior career as well. So what was your first ever fight like?
My first fight was a bit mad. It was in Wales. It was like a junior event. It was at like a holiday park. There's like hundreds of kids. So you kind of turn in, you don't know who you're fighting. Like when you first get there, you kind of weigh in and I kind of match it all up there and then. And the lad who ended up fighting, he was big, heavy, weighed in at 54 kilos. I was like 49. And he'd had 4 fights previous. This was my first. But obviously my coach, Steve Logan, he had kind of like belief in, faith in me. So like he thought I'd be okay. And obviously I went in, luckily I won on points. But it's like, I remember I had to wear like a head guard, body armor, 16-ounce gloves, shin pads, and I was exhausted. It was horrendous. I remember the head guard spinning around on the front of my face, so I couldn't see anything for a few seconds every now and again. It was mad.
How many minute rounds was them early fights in junior?
Those one, I think that would have been, 3 1.5s, that fight, I think, if I remember correctly.
It's mad because you probably do longer rounds as well in your training, and then the whole adrenaline in your first ever fight kind of gets to you and you gas straight away.
I'm just thinking about it now. I remember that the fight started. I remember standing there and we kind of stood there looking at each other for a bit. And I remember in my mind, I was thinking, this is taking too long. And I just kind of ran in with some punches. So I was kind of like over excited. And that's obviously where I started getting tired. So I was just kind of like swinging like mad shots. I've never seen the fight. So obviously it was never recorded. So I don't really know what it looks like. But it's probably terrible.
Was the music playing in the background? So that music they have to kind of set the beat as well. Was that playing?
Yeah, that would have been as well.
Super.
But like I say, because like the place was on like I think Barry Island it was in Wales. So it's obviously right on the coast. So you can see the sea and everything out the window, and obviously just kids running around, parents just getting beer and stuff. All the fights going on, it's mad.
So how was your junior career then, title wise?
I had a few more fights from then onwards, and then I challenged for the Midland area title. I won that in the second round. Then from then, I went up to fight for the English title. That was a real hard fight. That was against a lad called Craig Bittle. He turned into quite a good adult as well. That was a tough fight. I won that on points. And then a few more after that, I challenged for the British title. And then I won that one on points. And that would have been against Kieran Kettle, who Kieran went on to be multiple world champion as an adult as well. It was kind of mad. So I fought quite a lot of people that we both went up into the adult ranks.
Yeah.
I kind of stayed the same size and they all kind of got really big. I just kind of stayed really small.
Was it that point when you started to win the British title as a junior that you thought, as an adult, I want to make this like my full-time career and pursue it professionally?
No, to be honest, I kind of had aspirations before I fought for the Midland area title. Because at that time, we had like a couple of Midland area champions in the gym. And obviously, like now, there's a lot of shows, there's a lot of world title in every event. Obviously, back then, it's a little bit more scarce. So, Midland title was quite a big thing. Obviously, British title was really big. World title was like really unheard of. And obviously, that was like a massive event. Um, so I thought, you know what, I want to be Midland champion. As I was preparing for the Midland fight, I was thinking, you know what, the goal's really small. I want to be British champion, but I want to be British champion as the adults. And it just kind of every time I was getting closer to reaching those goals, I was adding more onto it because obviously I didn't want to set my target on being British champion. Then when I get there, I've kind of got nothing left to do. So I just kind of kept putting the goals up higher and higher and higher.
And what was your style like back then? Was you kind of inspired by like the Deckers and the Caymans and
Yeah,
etc.?
I was massively influenced by the Dutch style to begin with, mainly because it's very hard to get any kind of videos from Thailand. Any fights happened in Thailand, you probably wouldn't get it for about another 6 months to a year anyway. The Dutch, obviously, you could get their videos quite quickly because obviously they sold them in Holland. I actually remember buying a few videos in HMV. We had like the Kings of Muay Thai, which had like the Dutch v the Thais, and obviously there's quite a few of those. So obviously, like my coach Steve Logan, his favorite fight was like Rob Kamen at the time.
Yeah,
I really liked Deckers because obviously I really liked punching. I could punch quite hard. So Deckers and Tyson quite a big inspiration for me. And back then as well, Muay Thai was a bit different in the UK, where it was more probably what you'd look at more K1 style now, which is obviously like big boxing combinations, heavy leg kicks. That was a style back then. So obviously to kind of win then, that's the kind of way you had to fight.
did you ever go over to Holland to train with Deckers?
I did. I went. I think when I was 18, I went and like stayed a bit at Decker's gym, which was Hemmers at the time. Decker's was our next door neighbour. They put us up in his flat, and his flat was like the one next door to us. That was quite mad. At that time, we didn't see him train because he had like a lot of problems with his ankle, and he was going in for an operation. So obviously, we only kind of seen him in passing, and he kind of come in to say hello to us, and that was it. But he did a seminar in the UK. I think it might have been around about 2003. And he did 3 in one day. He did Manchester, Birmingham, and London.
I think it was my dad's. I think my dad's in Birmingham.
He did one in Birmingham, which was at the Aston Villa Leisure Centre.
Okay.
For me, it was amazing. But I think for Deckers, it's probably terrible because there's like 12 people on it. Obviously, for us, it was great because we got to really work with him one-on-one.
Yeah.
And I heard when he went down to London, it was like over 100 people on that seminar. Manchester was quite similar.
He was kind of like pioneer, weren't he, for like Westerners that kind of conquered Thailand.
When we was in Holland, I like talking with his stepdad, Core, and like they were saying that they were trying to make him a star. So he was really, really promoted. So that's obviously why his name's got big. One, obviously, he was good anyway, but he's promoted really well at the same time. And obviously, I don't know if you remember, they had Screen Sport on Sky.
No, I don't remember.
And on Sky, had obviously Euro Sport, but I think they had Screen Sport before then. And they had a lot of fights with Deckers was on Screen Sport, and had like some fights from Thailand and that as well. Your dad would probably remember.
Yeah, he probably would, yeah. So what was your early professional fights like then when you started to turn into the seniors, the adult category?
I started fighting adults when I was 16. I remember fighting a lad he was 25. I had a few fights as an adult. In one aspect, it was a risky fight for me because I built up such a big reputation as a child. And obviously jumping into the senior ranks it's very different. I've seen so many really good kids just get dismantled when they go up to the adult ranks because it's just different. So it was like a risky fight for me, but I ended up stopping him in the second round. Then I fought just a few weeks again after that. I won that one in the second round. Then again, just a few weeks after that, I fought again. But he was another young lad like me. So that was a hard fight. It was Craig Shaw. He went on himself to win like numerous titles as an adult, but I ended up winning that one on points. But that was a lot harder than fighting the adults.
Yeah. And then you start to win British title, and was it European title as well, all quite young?
Yeah, I won the British. My first British title fight was a heavyweight. I think I'd have weighed only about 57, but I challenged for a title of 59 because I wanted to fight Warren Brown.
Okay, yeah.
Warren Brown, I really admired Warren Brown, and obviously I wanted to fight. I remember watching him fight as a junior, and it's like my goal was to fight Warren, but he was just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. he's just a little bit too big for me. But obviously, one as well, he's very skillful as well. Obviously, he's doing very well now in the acting. Been on a lot of some like real like, big shows. But that was my first defeat as well for the British title. Then after that, I'd have been 18 at the time. Just turned 18. Had a few more fights after then. And then I challenged for the British title at 57 kilos, and I won that by knockout in the third round.
Amazing. What would you say the standard is like now of kind of that, like the British middle area titles, like compared to when you were competing for it?
I think now the overall standard is far better in the UK than obviously back then. Back then there were more fights. Now they're more kind of almost strategic bouts, if you know what I mean. I think that comes from down to people spending a lot of time in Thailand, coming back. So obviously the experience is just a lot higher.
Yeah.
But I do believe that from when I was competing, there was more stars than what there are now. I don't know if it's because the pool was a little bit shallow, so the bigger ones standing out a bit more compared to now, where everyone's kind of like there's more people that are at a good level. I'm not sure, but I just think there was more stars back then than there is now.
And what was it like when you first went out to Thailand?
It was an eye opener. Like when I first went to Thailand, I'd won 3 European titles. I thought I was a bit handy.
Yeah,
I really wasn't. Like obviously, I went out. I was being thrown around by kids. You know, I could just really, and to them, those titles meant nothing. For them, it's only the stadium titles, like the stadium fighters. Other than that, they're not interested.
Did they still have to really make you prove yourself then in the gym?
Yeah, being a foreigner, you're good for a foreigner. You're not good. You're good for a foreigner, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You went there. I was, oh yeah, like you're okay, but like you'd have to kind of prove yourself before they take any notice. I remember like when I was living out there, I've been in like a few weeks. Like their training is back then was 6 a.m. till 9 a.m. Then you break, have your breakfast, chill out for a bit, and then you have to go back. And it's 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. So I was doing that for a while. I just got burnt out. So I think it was on a Wednesday. I didn't go training that day. I thought I need a rest, so I didn't go training. Went the next day, and they asked me, "Oh, where was you?" I said, "I was a bit tired, just needed a rest." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." No one spoke to me for 2 weeks. They held pads for me, but they didn't speak to me. Really? Didn't converse. We didn't do anything.
And what gym was that?
That would have been Muay Thai Plaza that I was at. They had like a lot of top Thai champions there, but they showed like to them I was lazy.
Yeah,
to kind of reprove myself again.
Did you start to compete in the stadiums out there as well to kind of gain their respect?
Not in the major stadiums, because back then it's a little bit hard, especially me being small. So obviously it's like their strongest weight. Getting to the stadiums then was a lot trickier than it is now. Now Muay Thai is a massive tourist business in Thailand. It's very easy for foreigners to get into the stadiums now. Back then for me, it's a little bit harder. But I did actually live around the corner from Lumpini Stadium. So on fight night, I could hear the chants and that from my balcony. But I fought like a few of the smaller stadiums around Thailand.
What was it like then fighting in them smaller stadiums, like the competition level as well?
It's just a lot different. Like like when I went to Thailand, I did learn some tricks, but my biggest thing that I learned was how to play the game properly. Yeah, rather than just fighting, it's how to play the game. And I remember I was 18 and I went up to train with Ronnie Green up in Manchester. And after our session, I remember talking to Ronnie, and he was telling me, "Oh, I went to Thailand, and like what going to Thailand did for me was kept me in the sport longer." I didn't really understand what he meant at the time. But then after I'd been to Thailand, and then I kind of understood how to play the game, and I come back to the UK, I could play with people. I didn't need to take punishment when I need. You know, I could like stay. I could just kind of pick the points off, step in when I needed to. But my style before then, I was just kind of gone in, guns blazing, and my career probably would have been very short. So I kind of understood what Ronnie meant from there. So again, for me, going to Thailand kept me in this sport a lot longer because I learned I understood how to play what they were doing.
Did it give you more of a clinch game?
I understood the clinch more. I was at another gym for a while called Rompo. There's an article on Rompo you can read, which is by Alex Reynolds, who was there at the same time as me. Rompo's a very shady place, very dodgy. I was only there because at the time I had no money, and they allowed me to train for free. They just took 30% of my purse, and I had quite a big fight coming up. So what they'd done, they sent me to another gym, which is down the road from there. Because at that gym at the time, there's no Thais there really. And because I was quite small, it was a lot of massive Russians
Yeah.
in the gym. So they sent me to this other gym, which was called 96 Penang, which was like down the road. So I used to have to go to the gym, jog from the gym that I was at to their gym, which was probably about a mile and a half. I used to have to clinch there for 40 minutes. Then I have to jog back up to my gym for the pad work. And at that gym, I was being thrown around like a rag doll, and it's like 40 minutes non-stop. So it's not rounds, you just clinch for 40 minutes. And back then I had 2 rings. I had one ring for the fight, like basically kids that are over 55 kilos plus. Then I had a little kids ring. They put me in a bigger ring to begin with, and I just got dismantled. So they sent me in the kids ring for a few weeks. So after I started throwing them around, they put me back in the bigger ring. I was still getting dominated, but I was able to throw them a couple of times from then onwards. So I kind of learned. I can't say I'm a master clincher, but I know how to nullify the clinch now, because the ties is hard, especially when I'm a small 55 kilo fighter. Like in Thailand, they kept telling me you're fat. You need to be 49 kilos. And I was thinking, I'm not even attempting to get to 49 kilos. I'll stay at what I'm doing.
And did your game start to elevate then as you come back?
Yeah, like to be honest, I didn't see a huge advancement in Thailand, but I think that's because they were so good.
Yeah.
But then when I come back here, I could kind of practice what they were doing to me, and it was a lot easier here, kind of thing. So I kind of went there, learnt it, but practiced more when I got back home. So I was still just getting schooled when I was in Thailand.
And then what was the fights like on the build up to the first ever world title?
It was just because I'd done it, because obviously I'd been in Thailand. Like, when I was in Thailand, I had 10 fights in 1 year, which is like it's hard going. Like at one spell, I was fighting every 10 days for a while. Like that was hard. So when I come back to the UK, it was easy, because I'd been so active. It was just kind of almost normal. Like the longer layoff you have, the harder it is to get back into it.
How was you recovering then after them fights? Like pretty much back to back after week after week.
Honest, it's fighting in Thailand or fighting people that know what they're doing is a lot easier than fighting people that are a bit erratic.
Yeah.
Where they're hitting you in the right places, so you're kind of conditioned there, if that makes sense. I'm not getting kicked in the knee, booted in the hip, kicked in the elbow. I'm getting kicked on places where I'm used to being hit, so I was okay. But like I'd fought on the Queen's birthday in Bangkok, but I fought on a smaller event which was in a car park. So it'd be like the equivalent of putting a ring in the middle of one stop, having an event going on where there's people shopping and that around the outside. Then 10 days after that, I fought in Phuket. I had to catch a minibus to Phuket, which is a 14-hour drive. I didn't know until I got out the minibus in Phuket that I was sat next to my opponent, who'd also travelled from Phuket as well to fight. And then 10 days after that, I flew out to Hong Kong and fought in Hong Kong for the Hong Kong Championship. And then after that, I think it's a little bit longer than 10 days. It might have been about 3 weeks to almost 4. I fought in Japan. So just kind of like hectic.
That's crazy. Going from one place to the fighting as well. That's insane.
Like the gym that didn't talk to me, I left there after a while. So like a few issues there, but I think it was more not understanding the culture. Whereas like now I kind of understand it a bit more. So I don't think they was being as bad as what I originally thought. But I went to a gym where I kind of knew the guys, so like they were looking after me. I think first day I went there to train. He kind of said, "Oh, I've got you a fight next week, Wednesday." And I was like, "What? So soon?" And he said, "That's what you've come for, isn't it?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, okay, I get your point." And just kind of snowballed from there.
And what's the treatment like when you go back there now as a world champion multiple times?
I haven't been. When was the last time I went? I think 2015 is the last time I went. So I haven't been for a long time. When I go now, in Bangkok, I often go to a gym called Satipapa, where like it's where I send most of my fighters to go when they're over there. I know them quite well. They're very good to my guys when I go out there, and obviously they're very good to me. I fought some of their guys as well, so obviously we've got quite like a decent rapport.
Super.
But again, for them, it's the stadium belts. They're not really.
Yeah.
But I've gone past being good for a foreigner. I'm good now, so it's okay.
Do you think with one now, the kind of allure of getting a stadium belt, do you reckon the eyes are more towards getting a ONE FC contract and fighting on one for a lot of the ties?
Yes, because money.
Yeah.
Because they pay better. So I think like now the shift I think has gone from stadiums. Plus as well for a long time, the stadiums have been on a decline where it's not getting the same numbers in to watch the fights, and that just comes down to gambling. So it's the gamblers that kind of control what's happening in the stadiums now, rather than just people going to watch.
Yeah.
Whereas ONE FC, they're getting fans and people are watching.
It's a spectacle, isn't it? It's the whole show and everything. It's building their brand as well.
Yeah, because I actually got offered a ONE contract.
Did you?
Before they officially announced their kickboxing and Muay Thai cards, I got contacted by someone on Facebook saying, "Oh, have you got an email? ONE FC want to contact you." I thought it might have been because it was to do with like a seminar or teaching, because I've not long got back from working with Henry Cejudo.
Yeah.
So then I thought that's what it was. So I sent them my email, and they emailed me back saying, "Oh, we're going to start doing Muay Thai and kickboxing events." To give me like all their stats of numbers that they get in, and they're saying, "Are you free to sign a contract? Would you be interested?" Well, I just kind of said, "Oh, look, my fighting days are gone. I've got other avenues now. Thanks." And that was it.
I was going to ask this question towards the end, but we're on the topic now of ONE. How can you see Muay Thai evolving over the next decade because of ONE, especially because they're doing it in the cage, in the smaller gloves?
Obviously, in Muay Thai, in Thailand, boxing is kind of like the least favoured thing, unless you're a big puncher, because obviously Muay Thai scored on effect, so the technique has to score an effect. If the punching doesn't wobble the person will drop him, it doesn't really do much damage. Little gloves changes that massively. Yeah, so obviously the little gloves, obviously, like there's some fights where if they had bigger gloves on that I've watched on ONE, where the other person probably wouldn't have won. But because of them little gloves and they're putting the person down, they're rocking them all over the place, it kind of goes in their favour. It's kind of making the fights a little bit more exciting in that aspect. I personally wouldn't want to get punched in the face with little gloves where I can't grapple someone on the floor, so I can kind of take away the punishment for a bit. So I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, I'm sure ONE did kickboxing for a little bit.
Yeah.
4 rounds gloves. That's just dangerous.
Yeah.
Which obviously have changed now. It's the bigger gloves, but mainly because you can't shell up the same way with them little gloves.
Yeah.
Like
the shots just come through, don't they? The shots go through the guard.
So I remember I did a seminar in Ireland, and just before the seminar, I think about a week or 2 weeks before, they had their first ever cage Muay Thai event in Ireland. And on the seminar, I had quite a few of the fighters that competed come to the seminar, and their faces were still kind of mangled. And they asked me if I'd do it, and I was like, not really. And they were telling me that they had some MMA guys on the event to kind of help shift some tickets. And the MMA guys were saying to them, look, if you're going to fight in 4 ounce gloves, you can't keep your head still like you do in Muay Thai. You have to, because it's just not the same when you've got these little gloves on.
Do you reckon that would change the style then completely in the future? More head movement, etc.
A little bit. It's like if you kind of watch some of the Thais now, they're like defense kind of. If you understand Muay Thai, you've got where like they're called, I think they're like a long guard, where they'll kind of like cover straight up, and you'll see them kind of deflecting more with the shoulders. You'll see that quite well where they're kind of nullifying. But I think if you get someone that can box really well, they can kind of get past that with the little gloves. So like you'll see some things kind of change, but again, for Muay Thai, it's about heart, so you won't really see running off, like stepping off too much.
How do you find it then training the MMA fighters? So you've taught the likes of Henry Cejudo, you teach a lot of Bellator fighters, Cage Warriors fighters. Do you teach them a pure Thai style, or you teach them to kind of suit?
70% of Muay Thai is not going to work in MMA.
Yeah.
70% of Jiu-Jitsu is not going to work in MMA. 70% of boxing is not, like it's
a style on its own, isn't it? Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. So like there's certain things that I'll kind of incorporate. Like for me with Muay Thai, how techniques are delivered are the most proficient in my opinion. Like obviously there's some things like back kicks and stuff which isn't really in Muay Thai, but the roundhouse kick and obviously the knee, they're kind of like the most proficient. But obviously in MMA you can't stand there too upright, bouncing your front leg, playing about with your shorts. Like it's just not gonna. So you have to kind of move around. Because I kind of came from a very Dutch orientated style to begin with, and then kind of learned the Thai style.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of swap in between, so I'm kind of show some of the kickboxing aspects as well as obviously the kind of like the catching game from Muay Thai when you grab the legs. And because I think what happens is as well, a lot of MMA guys is unless they come from a proficient striking background, they're not confident in kicking because they're worried about it being caught and being taken down. So I kind of help with if your leg get caught, what to do on how to catch people's kicks if you do fight a proficient kicker and kind of using that aspect.
How did you find Cejudo took to it? Because he was he was Olympic level wrestler. So he wasn't from that striking background.
Henry, because he's come from an Olympic background, he's very also disciplined.
Yeah.
So like he's very like he'd come in, what we're doing today, coach. How do you do that? Like he was very like he wanted to learn. He was eager. He'd ask questions. He'd kind of practice. Like when I first met him at a gym called CSA, which is in Dublin, California. CSA is a big gym, got a lot of top UFC guys there. They kind of flew me in to help with some of their guys, and I got to work with Cejudo and the guys from the Tough 24. I had no idea who Henry Cejudo was, so I didn't really follow MMA. My first day at the gym, they've gone, you're going to work with like Kevin Ross, Gaston Bolanos. Then you can do like a group class with like my fighters, and then you get to work with Henry Cejudo from the UFC. And I was just like, yeah, okay, then. I didn't have a clue who Henry was.
Yeah.
I did some stuff with him and his guys. After the session, he was asking me certain things, and he was really trying to get what I was saying. So obviously he was eager. CSA's got a real big social media platform. So I put a couple of videos up of me working with Henry. And then when I woke up in the morning, I was bombarded with messages. Oh, wow, you're working with Henry. That's amazing. I thought, who the fuck's this? So I had to Google like who he was. I didn't know who he was. And obviously he's an Olympic wrestler. Obviously, I think number 2, number 3 in the UFC at the time. So, bloody hell. So I worked with him for like 2 weeks while I was at CSA. Henry flew off then because he was fighting Benavides on the final of the Tough 24. Then after I flew back to England, Christmas was coming up, Henry contacted me and said, do you want to come out to Arizona for a month, work with me? So I'm fighting Sergio Pettis, it was at the time. So he flew me out to Arizona and I worked with him for a month. Like I say, he's very disciplined, eager to learn. Obviously, he's excelled massively since then. Not just from me, obviously he's worked with quite a few other good coaches, but he always credits me for a lot of stuff, which I'm appreciative with.
I saw it when he won the title as well. I saw him credit you as well for that, which was nice.
Yeah, he phoned me up, which was quite mad, and sent me a video like thanking me and that. So I was quite taken back. But obviously, it wasn't just me. Obviously, CSA played a massive thing in his game. And obviously, he's been out to Holland, trained in Holland, and he's obviously been to Brazil. It's like he's sought like the top people to kind of help him out.
Yeah. And what was it like yourself when you first won your world title? Was that a sense of fulfillment? Because you've been, like you said, did it since you were 14.
Yeah, well, I lost my first world title challenge, which was in 2007 against a Thai called Rung Chai. Rung Chai beat me in 2002. So before I went to Thailand. You probably can't see it now. I've got like about 2-inch gash on my head from an elbow. He cut me again. Got stopped in the second round. So this was like a rematch. Again, I went up in weight because I started fighting. The early part of my career, I was fighting between 57 and 59. That's what I walked at. But people's nutrition was getting better. People were cutting weight a lot better. So I was fighting giants. So I kind of come down to 55. But for Rung Chai, I went up to 57 because obviously he couldn't get down any lower anymore. A lot of people thought I won the fight. I don't. I do think it was the right decision. I think I lost. If I'd have won that world title then, I think I'd have retired because that was my goal at the time. I wanted to become world champion. I think if I'd have got there, I'd have probably stopped and just kind of carried on teaching. I didn't win it. I didn't fight again for, I think it was over 18 months or so. And I kind of, Steve sorted out a manager for me, kind of gave me a bit of like new lease of life.
Yeah.
Got a couple more fights. Then I fought for world title at 55 kilos. I won that in the third round, head kick knockout. And I kind of remember he was like, I remember he was sitting on the floor, he was contemplating whether to get up or not. He was kind of wobbling about a bit. And as the referee waved it off, in my mind, I was like, oh, finally, I'm world champion. I've kind of done it. But then again, my goals kind of shot up a level. I didn't just want to be a world champion. I wanted to be remembered. I wanted people to still talk about me after I'd finished fighting, which I'm kind of happy at the moment they still do.
Yeah.
I will be forgotten. It's just what happens in combat sports. So I'm quite happy that people still kind of bring my name up.
But now you regard as one of the top coaches as well, though, in the world of Muay Thai.
Which I'm kind of happy. I'm still trying to push that. I've trained a couple of world champions myself. I've got to work with a lot of top MMA guys now that are doing really well. I think MMA is kind of almost the way things are going now. If you want to get involved in a professional combat sport, I think it is MMA.
How did you feel the switch then, going from being an elite fighter to then running your own full-time academy? How did you find that transition?
To be honest, it was quite easy because I'd worked at the gym since I was 18 under Steve Logan. It got me before then, it got me helping out Teetler. I think I did like part-time, 2 days a week behind a desk, doing a couple of warm-ups for him. So it's something that I've always done. And with Steve, he didn't just teach me Muay Thai, he taught me how to run a gym. He taught me how to coach people, which obviously what's helping me now. I know how to converse things. I've got loads of different ways to teach one technique. I found it a lot harder going from coach to fighter because I had a one-off comeback fight just because I wanted to fight in front of my son.
Oh.
That was really hard because I couldn't train how we used to, because obviously being a fighter, you've got to be very selfish. I had a 2-year-old son at the time. I had a gym. The gym pays my mortgage. I've got to make sure so I just couldn't train properly. So I found it harder going back from coach to fighter than it was from fighter to coach.
Was it kind of like the whole, you got to put yourself through that whole grind again for that one-off fight? Even though it was for that whole amazing thing fighting in front of your son, was it a lot harder work?
As soon as I agreed to do it, I thought, what am I doing? And I'd wake up in the morning, I'd be like, I've got to go training. I actually hated the whole procedure for it, like absolutely detested it. And even then, like, I didn't train. Like I think I was only doing, I did 5 rounds on the pads in the morning, 5 rounds on the pads on the evening, and sparse. It wasn't proper training at all. That's all I could get in because obviously my focus was on other things.
How old was you in that fight as well?
36.
36, yeah. So now you've moved on to doing the Warrior Collective stuff as well. Can you talk to me a little bit about that? Because I've seen the pages and I've seen the content they produce. They got some of the best guys in the world on their platform.
That was actually just before the first time I went out to CSA. Like Stuart Tomlinson, who runs the Warrior Collective, he just kind of contacted me and just kind of said, "Oh, would you be up for doing like somewhat for YouTube, blah, blah, blah." I thought, oh, yeah, that would be good for me. So he's come down. Like, me and Stuart got on really well. He seemed quite impressed with how I could converse with techniques onto the camera. The stuff that I did for him did really well. He asked would like to do another one. That did really well. They kept doing well. Then he kind of approached us, "Oh, look, we're going to start doing some paid content now." And it's just kind of snowballed from there. But obviously, as I've got like more sought after, the Warrior Collective's gone more, so we've kind of complemented each other. Yeah. And obviously they've just kind of skyrocketed off. And they're doing obviously really well. They've got a lot of top coaches doing like similar things to me. So like it's been good. And I think because of the Warrior Collective and the CSA thing, it's really helped boost my profile as well, which is kind of everything kind of came around at the same time, which has helped.
And have you found the COVID's kind of everything's gone online, hasn't it? So I suppose the content for that is getting out there more as well.
No, that's it. Like obviously since the COVID thing, just before COVID, I did like a bag tutorial, which obviously that just went bonkers. Because remember, when we were going to reopen, it was obviously only bag work, and it's still going to be the same now. So we had to order some more bags, and they were like, it was just so hard to get a bag during the first lockdown because everyone just kind of bought them out. And obviously that bag tutorial kind of, again, just did really well during that time. It's still doing well now. It's just one of them, just keeps constantly going out. Because a lot of people as well, if you kind of think of it, most people start doing martial arts based on confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of people that don't want to go into a gym yet because they're not confident. So they want to train at home. So that, again, the bag thing kind of comes in. It helps them build up a little bit, and then they can start going into a gym from there.
It's that nice stepping stone, isn't it? I remember as soon as the first lockdown was announced, straight away my heavy bag was out, the kettlebells were out, I started running again. Something I haven't done in ages.
Yeah.
So hopefully when we're back, I'll be reaping the rewards from that as well.
That's it.
So if you could have fought one person in a higher weight class, like a legend, who would it have been?
I think I'd like to have fought, his name was Rambo.
Right.
Which was, he was a Thai. They were actually trying to get me to fight him when I was in Thailand. The gym that I'd left, they'd got Rambo working there after I'd gone, and they were trying to set a fight between me and him. I had a lot of problems in my hand at the time where it kept breaking. Rambo's one of them where he just marches forwards, doesn't take a step back. He's just like a proper hard man. So it's probably not a fight I've took at that time with my hand. But I think it would have been entertaining because I fought another Thai very similar to him, which is called Rung Ravi, which is same again. Yeah. He's one of them that's kind of marched forwards. So I think from a legend, I think I'd like to have fought Rambo.
What was it like fighting them elite level Thais?
An eye opener.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when I first got to Thailand, I almost had to learn how to fight them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Yeah, I had to kind of learn how to deal with them, how to punch with them. Because to start with, obviously, it was very Dutch style, so I'd go in, big hands. I'd get cut with elbows. So like I say, like Rong Chai cut me quite easily. I fought another big legend, which is Wang Chan Nai, where I got like a scar under my eye and across there from a jumping knee up to the face. So obviously with that, I was winning that fight until he jumping knee me in the face. But, again, it's like it's eye opener. I had to learn. You punch, you have to box differently in Muay Thai compared to obviously sort of normal kickboxing or boxing.
And who can you see the next superstars of Thai being, like the kind of passing the torch? We've had the Sanchais, had the Bukals. Who can you see the next?
If I'm perfectly honest, I don't follow the sport close enough in Thailand now to kind of know who's up and coming.
Yeah,
And I'll quickly look at it, but I'm just not I'm not watching it to kind of know, so I can't really make a prediction. Like there was a Thai that I still like his style, Sangmani, which was very, very elusive, great boxing. So I know like they're trying to train him up to fight for Thailand in the Olympics, but that kind of didn't happen in the end. So he kind of went back into Muay Thai, but he's just getting beat quite often at the minute. And again, the little gloves has really changed things because he's in one and he got knocked out quite easily. So it's just different. So he, a couple of years ago, I maybe have said him. He's still a star. I think he probably gets paid probably quite the highest at the minute. But again, it's just changed. Thailand changes all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like when I was in Holland talking to Cor Hemmers, Ramon Dekker's like stepfather, like he was saying, one of the reasons again why Ramon is so famous is there's only one of him.
Yeah.
Because we're in Thailand, the champion falls down, you got another top level Thai to take his place. He goes another, like there's just kind of constantly being swapped where even now, like there's only been a couple of people that can probably step into Dekker's like shoes to get to the level that he's got.
And like you said, there's a world title on the line at every fight now.
Yeah.
So the kind of, I don't know if the novelty's worn off. I'm not saying that, but
that's it. Like for me now, it's who you fight. That like I've fought, like the people that I've fought for the world titles have been good, but I've beat people that are far better than them that are world champions now, but the fights weren't for the belt.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So it's kind of, it's who you fight that actually builds up your reputation.
I heard Liam Harrison say in his younger days it was all about titles. Now it's all about who he fights.
That's it. Yeah. That's spot on. That's what's going to be remembered.
Yeah.
It's who you fought, the fights that you've had. Like again, going back to Dekker's, it's the fight that most people know. Most people couldn't name what world title he's got. Most people couldn't name what world title Danny Bill's got. Most people couldn't name what world title Rob Kaman's got. But they know he's a world champion.
Yes. They're kind of them pioneers, weren't they, as well, for Western Muay Thai?
Yeah, it's who you fight that kind of establishes your legacy.
Legacy, isn't it? I finished my interviews on one final question, if that's okay.
Okay.
And I say to everyone, if you had to start again, what advice would you give to yourself?
Believe in yourself. You're going to get to where you're going to get to. Just keep training hard. Stay focused, and everything you've done, everything that you're going to do is going to get you to what you want, where you want to be.
Fantastic. Damien Trainor, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate your time.
No, thanks for having me. It's been good.
Thank you. And I'll leave all the links to your Warrior Collective courses and your Instagram in the bio below, so you guys can check him out. Thank you.
Okay, take care.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget to hit the follow button. And if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notifications button so you don't miss out on my latest episode. And for more martial arts content, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. Just follow @martialartswithjake.